Well, here we go again. On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, GTA 6 delayed until November 19th, 2026.
Great news, friends.
Investor call update. All of these timing things felt a bit weird in the and when to expect trailer 3. You know, unfortunately, it sort of works. It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Hello and welcome to episode 97 of GTA 6 o'clock, the world's most in-depth and best connected GTA 6 show. I am your host, James JJ Jarvis. And okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Or is it a rock? That debate will roll on, as does the GTA 6 release date, which has rolled on from May 26th to November 19th, 2026. Joining me today and for the next, now 372 days, until its release, is Dan DD Dawkins. Hello, Dan.
Great news, friends. We have a further 26 episodes of GTA 6 o'clock to spend together before the release of GTA 6.
Yeah, every cloud.
Every cloud. Now, I did write that in the newsletter last week. Even I couldn't bring myself to finish that sentence. It's been a tough week for a GTA fan, a tougher week to be in the GTA content creation industry. Having said that, we're here. There's never been more to talk about than there is right now. In the history of GTA 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, weirdly, Rockstar's silence has never stopped us having things to say. You may disagree as a member of the audience, but you know, my initial reaction was, exactly what you said. Oh shoot, here we go again. But we're here. I've kind of made my peace with it. We can talk about the ins and outs of the announcement and the madness, the real madness of some people who are out there trying to score engagement of this.
Yes.
I just quickly ref and get angry about something. Even last night, people were repeating that thing saying Rockstar have changed all the trailers on the website, the official website, and changed all the dates on them. I don't know if you saw that do the rounds.
That is true.
Is it true, though?
Yes.
Because I watched those trailers just then. They still say the old dates.
So this comes up later on in the show. But let's do it now. The ones embedded in the website are the YouTube versions of the trailers.
Yes.
Those have not been updated.
Yes.
The ones you can download from Rockstar's website have a new end card that has the new date on it. What they haven't done yet is ask YouTube to update those videos, which you can do, and other people like EA have done in the past for like Star Wars Jedi Survivor when they delayed that game. But I think it's a more involved process, and most YouTube accounts can't do that. You can't just update a video without losing all the views. Obviously, Rockstar don't want to lose the 262 million views they've got on that trailer.
Yeah.
So they will be asking YouTube in the back end, can we just update this but keep all the stats? I think it's just a longer process. I think they'll do it.
And not to derail the conversation, but is that something they've done previously? Like literally rewriting history almost to pretend we never changed the date?
From memory, I think they did update the GTA 5 ones eventually. They definitely updated the ones on the website and changed everything retrospectively. So in a way, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know is the answer, like in terms of have they done it before. Should they? No. You should be forced to keep that date locked for eternity because that's what you chose to do.
Right.
I'm coming down really hard on this.
Yeah, I mean, they've changed the website. You need them to keep the date on the website as well?
That is different.
Or just cross it out?
The main website obviously has to say it's the date it's going to be in the future, of course. But I see the trailers as artifacts of historical record. And I don't think you get to go back and change what they said at that point in time that they were released. I don't think. Whatever, right? Who cares what I think? But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think they have to that shows the history. The danger is, as we move into an age where there's even more confusion about what's true and what isn't, like I started the conversation, social media accounts, at best blurring reality, right? Then you've got the rise of AI and AI scraping all this stuff. We may get to a point in the future where it's even forgotten that a thing even happened because you've got the ability
never got delayed.
Well, that's what I mean.
It was always meant to be coming out in November.
And I don't like it. And as a student of like GTA history, I do not like it. And I think you should be forced to commit hard to what you said at a point in time for certain things. I don't make the rules. Maybe I shouldn't. But that's my starting gambit.
Wow.
Good. Wow.
And
no one
if-
saw that coming.
As if you thought this week was going to be mellow on the chat.
It's combative.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say we almost got to under 200 days to go before launch, but now we're all going to have to reset those countdown clocks or update the countdown clocks and not tell anyone, because now there's only 372 days to go, which is, unfortunately, over a year from the time that you're listening to this episode. Of course, if you're listening to this episode in 6 months' time, maybe I'll just update that bit and say, it's only 6 months to go. But obviously, last week's episode was all about pre-investor call, pre-announcement. Nothing's going to happen. We think it's all going to be fine. That episode, Dan, did not age well, did it?
Like milk in the Dubai wastelands. I would say that, yeah, that probably didn't go very well. All that said, like, I think we'll talk about this now. I felt good about May 26th, 2026, because up until they did what they did last week, they had never changed the dated release.
No. Yeah, I was like, it's easy to look back on it, but I was pretty certain that it was like solid for now, at least. I did think, as I said last week, if it was going to get delayed, they would wait until at least early next year before they changed anything. Like, let the world believe for a little bit longer. Give us some more hope that it could be coming out in May before you slash all the tires and say, actually, no, you're going to have to wait another 6 months. And for the reasons we've talked about many times on the podcast, like it ties in with so many like anniversary dates. Bonnie and Clyde, the original voice actor of Tommy Vercetti, like it all worked. It was perfect. So and we'll obviously get onto why this has happened later on. But I don't think it would have been an easy conversation for all of those reasons to go, we have to move this pretty, like, for the fans, significant date. Most people don't care, right? They won't know. But for the fans and the people who've been following the development of GTA 6 and the story behind it, it's quite a significant date. So there are probably big reasons for moving it, and we'll get onto them in a minute. But what it has done is moved that release date to November the 19th. Now, what is November the 19th as a day? Why pick November the 19th? First up, let's go through these. First up, Dan, it's International Men's Day. Now, that was officially inaugurated in 1999 by Jerome Tilak Singh in Trinidad and Tobago. He chose November 19th to mark the birthday of his father and emphasize the importance of positive role models in society. Does that feed into GTA 6?
What better way to announce GTA 6's first playable female protagonist
On
than to
International
launch on
Men's Day.
International Men's Day?
I know.
I am sure that's why that date has been chosen. The ultimate troll from Rockstar.
Now, if you thought that was fun, Christopher Columbus first discovered Puerto Rico on his second voyage on that day.
Yeah.
Nintendo launched the Wii in North America in
That'll be the one.
2006. In 2020, Sony launched the PlayStation 5 to the rest of the world. It had already been released in other places. And GTA 5 for PlayStation 4 was released on November the 18th, 2014. So GTA 6 is going to come out almost exactly 12 years after the PS4 release of GTA 5. Now, that doesn't really work as an anniversary because obviously it came out on PlayStation 3 and then later again on PlayStation 5. But one of the releases of GTA 5 does line up with that date. Other than that, Rockstar have never released a game in November. Can you believe that? Well, they haven't. So you have to believe it because it's the truth.
Yes.
Other than editions of the same game, like they've released a Windows version of GTA 5 in November, etc., but not the first release of the game. Have never released anything in November, except for, yes, commenters, the Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, which I'm not counting as a release because it's a collection of loads of other things.
Yeah.
So interesting, never come out in November. I guess the most interesting thing, though, is something that you have added to the script that someone actually sent in.
Yeah, so a sort of friend of the show, Rockstation, one of the social accounts, got in touch to say, I don't know if you know this, and he got this himself from a tip-off. He said, now apparently Bonnie and Clyde, and we understand that Bonnie and Clyde's the sort of inspiration for GTA 6 with Lucia and Jason's story, they reportedly robbed their first bank on November the 19th, 1932. So if that's accepted as truth, and it does seem to be, that's got a nice, perhaps a better simpatico fit than International Men's Day, one might put forward.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. As we know, the last release date was around the anniversary of their funerals, which was the 26th of May.
Yeah.
So to pick another Bonnie and Clyde date, it could be entirely coincidental.
Yes.
But having, knowing the themes of GTA 6 and knowing that possibly they picked that date before because of their funerals, to go back and pick a date of when they robbed their first bank does make some kind of logical sense to me. I would go, okay, maybe that is partly the reason. And the fact that it's helpfully a Tuesday, which is normally when you would release a game.
Well, May 26th was a Tuesday. November the 19th is a Thursday, is it not?
Come on. Yeah, it's a Thursday, Dan. Well, I mean, also you release games on a Thursday, so
yes,
well done.
That's also allowed. Were you to be organising a major international award show like we do, that's terrible news, because it might literally have scheduled itself on top of our show. But whatevs, we'll cross that bridge.
I mean, it is like the micro point of that. It is quite unfortunate timing for end of year awards shows.
Yeah, it is.
Like Golden Joystick Awards, like the Game Awards, and like, a lot of websites' Game of the Year features, you now have to wait until that game comes out to consider it or ignore it. And you can't ignore it. But then if you wait and it gets delayed again, and especially for things that are like live in-person award shows, if you pick a date, it's very hard then to move that date, let's say 3 months before the award show, because all the other award shows in the world have already booked a lot of other venues. So if you've moved your date expecting it to come out on November the 19th, and then 3 months before that, Rockstar go, actually, we're going to need another 4 months. You've then moved a date for no reason, and it becomes very hard to then walk anything like that back. That's a minor point.
Yeah, and I wonder to what extent that sort of calculus even comes into Rockstar's mind. Like, do they actually care whether they win awards or not? Strev Zelnick might, and I think you care more about awards if the thing you do isn't popular and really successful.
Yes.
Sounds a bit harsh, but if you're swimming in money, it's easier to go, well, I didn't win an award, but we are the richest company in the world.
They don't need to win those awards.
Of course they don't.
But for those award shows, it will look weird.
Yes.
If they're coming out after that date. Say you've got an award show on November the 30th, and in all of the categories, GTA 6 is out, but not nominated in anything because of the way the timings worked. It makes that awards celebration look a bit weird.
Yeah, and if GTA 6 is the game we expect it to be, etc., etc.
Of course, it might not win any awards.
Yeah, who can tell? Who can tell? And that's another social media thing that's gone around. People pretending, what if it's only 7 out of 10? What if it's mid? I think it's going to be, just be quiet, everybody. It's such a time for knee-jerk reactions.
I saw a lot of it's never coming out.
Oh, come on, everybody, please.
Yes,
have some faith and confidence. But sorry,
we've gone off on a few tangents.
Deep breath.
Let's bring it back to last week and everyone's best time of everyone's lives and what was actually said on the internet. So Rockstar put out a statement on the website and on X or Twitter that says, "Hi everyone, Grand Theft Auto 6 will now release on Thursday, November 19, 2026. We are sorry for the additional time to what we realise has been a long wait, but these extra months will allow us to finish the game with the level of polish you have come to expect and deserve. We want to thank you again for your patience and support. While the wait is a little longer, we are incredibly excited for players to experience the sprawling state of Leonida and the return to modern-day Vice City. Sincerely, Rockstar Games." At a similar time, they updated all of their social media banners to contain that new date. But actually, all of those updates were possibly a little slower than we would have expected. Is that fair?
It was quite... Rockstar have a lot of touch points, like a lot of social media channels, a lot of uploaded videos and places where the date would have existed. They were definitely not updated in unison. I was writing the GTA 6 o'clock newsletter the day after the news had broken, so it was like Friday morning, Friday this morning, November the 7th. I popped in on the Rockstar Games website, and it still said, when the new look widescreen lovely website, big GTA logo, scroll down, coming May 26th, 2026. That's what it said 12 to 18 hours after they'd announced the delay. I'd actually tweeted about that and gone, this is unusual. Not a big deal in itself, but unusual for them. Within 2 hours of that tweet, they changed it. I'm not saying I caused it. I'm just saying it might, clearly
might have accelerated some plans.
Maybe someone, I also got a few followers last week because out of the blue, Rockstar Games followed me on X. And I was like, crikey, who's following me? And somehow that made the X algorithm go, alert, attract more followers to this person. So I had a few more followers. So hello, if you're following. I'm afraid there'll be a lot of tweeting about non-GTA things. So sorry
especially
about that.
now.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it's Rockstar felt like they were playing catch up a little bit, or it wasn't as aligned as you would expect. And that's a bit unusual for them, I think. They're so smooth and considered, and somebody would have looked astride a spreadsheet and gone, here's all our touch points. We're announcing the delay then. You're updating this then. And you would think somebody would chain of events sequence all of that. It doesn't matter, but it's unusual. And I think that's notable. And we'll talk about this more as the show goes on. There's something about this announcement. It's just a bit out of step with previous things they've done.
So yes, coupled with the announcement was the Take-Two investor call, and Strauss Zelnick also did a number of interviews with media outlets, which were obviously pre-recorded or pre-set up. So they all knew that the delay was incoming. So all of the questions were inevitably about the delay and what it means and all of that kind of stuff. And I guess, as you just touched on, all of these timing things felt a bit weird in that the tweet that Rockstar had done went out about 20 minutes before that investor call went live, which is a live Q&A. That's not pre-recorded. You can dial into that. People ask live questions and things. So up until that point, unless, of course, all the people on that call had already been pre-briefed, no one would have known outside of Rockstar and Take-Two that was coming. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a shock, well, especially for us, going, it'll be fine. And then 20 minutes before the call, you're like, it's not fine anymore, which hasn't happened before. Like, it's normally been weeks or at least days before the call where something significant like that has been announced.
Yeah, like I wrote about that on the newsletter, where when the May 26th delay was announced, when it moved from the previous year to May 26th, that news came out. Then a couple of days later, they did the mega media drop. And we were like, oh my God, trailer 2, a new website, 70 screens, amazing. And then about a week after that was the earnings call. And by that stage, it had almost become a non-story because we'd all become so used to the fact it had moved to May 26th. We were too in love with the new trailer, loving the new screens, loving the website. It almost became a non-conversation within that earnings call. This wasn't that. It sort of dropped out of the sky 20 minutes before the earnings call. And I guess everyone, unless, we don't know when they were tipped off, the analysts on there, or maybe they weren't. But I guess everyone was scrabbling and reacting at the same time. Like, certainly in real time. I think the first I knew about it was you texted me and I checked and went, oh man, because I'd been offline watching, and this is, if I thought GTA was just a game that released in the UK, I'd be really cynical. The delay got announced in the middle of the biggest TV event of the year in the UK, the Traitor Celebrity Final. That's had the biggest standalone audience of anything. Normally, that's when you smuggle out bad news. The difference with this is it's not just about the UK. No. It's about the world. So that's just a coincidence. And it's much more about the fact the earnings call was starting 20-ish minutes after the news dropped. But that doesn't feel very smooth and coordinated compared to the previous time. And I do wonder, the previous time they knew they had trailer 2 in the bank. They knew they had the website.
Yeah.
It was much more sequenced. I wonder to what extent this was not known about or not planned enough. And then they had to almost scrabble to go, Strauss, you need to get ahead of this, speak to a load of B2B sites. That's our, I don't know what you think about this, that's our equivalent of trailer 2. We're just getting a bit more messaging out there and making it look more considered. But everything else would suggest it's not. 20 minutes before the call, social media unaligned, doesn't feel the same way.
No, and which has probably sparked all of the things of, as you're listening to this today, it is Tuesday, whereas a lot of the social media accounts, or at least a good handful of them, are going, because of last week's announcement, it means that trailer 3 is coming today.
Yeah.
Like on the 11th.
And as we speak, it's tipped, the social media vibe is it's happening at 2 p.m. GMT, which actually, as we speak, is an hour and a half away.
Which is, normally when Rockstar would drop a trailer is 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Look, I am going to, let me get on my horse and say 100% no chance is that trailer coming out at 2 p.m.
that's strong,
today.
isn't it? 100%.
98%. There is there's no way. And I will tell you why later on in the show. But if you're listening to this bit of the show, I haven't had to ask Nathan to cut this out.
Yeah.
And I am 98%
hearing this,
sure.
It's true.
Yeah.
Hence why it's in the show.
Yeah. If you're not hearing this, well, then you can't hear it and it will go in an outtakes reel at some point. But look, in reality, there is no way, I don't think, that trailer is coming because of all the things you've said. It doesn't feel ready. And if the game is now a year away, doesn't really make sense for me for them to drop a third trailer now, especially given, as we'll look at, the timelines that we've previously got into. So let's see what happens, but I'm not crossing my fingers. As we mentioned, Strauss Zelnick did a few interviews with people. In the earnings release, he said, and these are the reasons they are staying for the delay, it was giving the team some additional time to finish the game with the high level of polish players expect and deserve. He talked to gamesindustry.biz, where he wouldn't commit to it being the final delay, but said he was confident in the date. That's why we set it. Now, that is something he said before when they set the May 26th date. He said,
it is.
We wouldn't say it if we weren't confident in hitting it. So read into that what you will. He went on to say in that same interview, we are trying very hard to deliver the most extraordinary interactive entertainment experience ever created. Rockstar and we are aligned on that. We're feeling really good about it. He then said, as you know, occasionally across our entire company, including 2K and our mobile business, at times more time is required to polish a title to ensure that it is released in the best possible form. And of course, it will release in the same financial year as the prior date. In another interview, he said, we have now and then moved release dates when it has required more polish. In this instance, Rockstar Games' ambitions are extraordinary, of course, as are those of consumers' expectations. So we fully support the move. There is a lot in here, Dan, of a particular word that they keep using over and over again. And that word is polish.
Polish. Polish seems to be the byword for lots of things. What we're going to do, we're going to say it's polish. He used the word polish in pretty much every single one of the B2B interviews I read. He used it multiple times during the earnings call itself, to the extent that one of the analysts on the call asked him, what do you mean by polish? And then hilariously, he answered it by not mentioning the word polish once, and just talked about Rockstar's legacy of creating great products, the Metacritic score. He basically just said he had a series of talking points. And he repeated them everywhere. One of the key words was polish. Another was this thing about being highly confident and feeling really, really good. Repeated things about expectations and levels of quality. These are really the things he said pretty much after the May 26th date. Polish is a word they used. If you go all the way back to one of the many Red Dead Redemption 2 delays, I think the final Red Dead Redemption 2 delay was due to needing time to polish. So it's a go-to phrase that just, I think it's what it implies. Polish implies it's not about construction. It's not about problems. It's about putting that final lick of paint, that coat of polish. It sort of suggests that everything's calm and serene.
Yeah.
And it's about making it perfect.
It's like the thing is done.
Yes.
Just needs to be prettier now.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think it's a very deliberate word for all of those implications and reasons. For similar reasons, he didn't once, certainly anything I noted, use the word delay. Because delay's a bad word.
Yeah.
And it's a negative word. And this is the world of, I guess, CEO speak. And a lot of people pile on Strauss-Zelnick because he can sound a bit like like CEOs do, a bit robotic, right? He has to. This is what he's paid to do. He's paid to walk that tightrope between staying upbeat, not betraying his company internally, maintaining optimism to shareholders, at the same time to the wider public, not looking literally like a robot. So you're trying to humanize it all, but without actually saying anything revealing. It's a weirdly difficult task, and I think he's very good at it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are angry with him for saying, you said you were confident before, and yeah, I get it, right? You can't trust what he's saying. That's his job. I'm not saying it's good, but I don't want it to come out and suddenly go, do you know what? I don't feel good about this date. I'm actually really nervous.
Yeah.
Internally, it's a disaster. You can't say that stuff. What do you expect from this guy?
Yeah. There was also in that call a question from a UBS analyst who said, is there anything you can share as to the drivers that gave you confidence that this date will stick? And he basically then said, I would like to point out that we have some competitors that in the event where more polish was required and it required slipping a date, they chose not to slip the date and did so at their peril.
Yeah, I wonder what game he's talking about.
Well, there's some quite high-profile games out there that obviously came out when they shouldn't have and then had to have multiple rounds of patching.
Yeah.
What he's saying there is that they're trying to avoid that. They don't want to get into a situation where they release GTA 6 at a point where it's fine and works, but possibly isn't up to the top standards, and then they have to continuously patch it. So hopefully what's going to happen is the game will come out, and obviously it won't be perfect, because if you've got a game like GTA 6, there's going to be bugs in it, and people are going to find things that they haven't managed to test in the play testing, and at points I imagine you'll be able to clip through certain things, but it will be stable for 95% of the players to have a really great experience.
Yeah, and if you want to nerd out on this stuff and the reasons for it, there's a game I think he's referring.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
let's
Cyberpunk,
say it.
Right? It's Cyberpunk. He's referring to Cyberpunk. The reason is, I think, for people on that call who are analysts and investors, they will be acutely aware that the travails of that game weren't just about memes and lols. They were about a very specific cratering in the CD Projekt share price that has taken almost 5 years to recover and is now probably not at the levels it was pre the release of that game. If you were to overlay that with the Take-Two share price on the back of the delay, yes, it's taken a small hit, right? But the trajectory of the Take-Two share price over 5 years is significantly up. And there's a bigger confidence in their word being true. All investing is sentiment, right? And people believe Zelnick more. And so I think he's putting himself on the line to say, we're doing it this way and you've got to trust me.
Yeah.
The share price is broadly agreed. There was I think reports of a dip somewhere in the region of 6-7%, which is quite chunky. But the share price overall is way up over the last 2-3 years.
And you would expect, as we get closer to the release, it will recover again and probably significantly increase from where it is now.
Yeah, I'm so confident. I thought, this sounds mad. Can I even say this? I've thought about buying Take-Two shares on the back of that dip.
Yeah.
Because you think that's probably an irrational reaction to something that eventually is going to make $1 gazillion.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. But then you look at how much the shares are and go, actually, maybe not.
I won't buy too many. Yeah.
So there we go. But if you've got that kind of money, then it
drop it in.
Feels like a pretty solid investment choice. One more thing on all of these delays. Mike York, friend of the show, who's a former Rockstar Games animator, worked on GTA 5, worked on Red Dead Redemption 2, both of which got delayed, has made a little video about this, talking about from, his personal thoughts. He hasn't worked at Rockstar for about 10 years now, so he doesn't actually know what's going on, but he worked on games which both got delayed when he was there. His view on it was like, it's not one thing that has happened here.
Now, in Rockstar's situation here, and GTA 6 specifically, I think that the game is getting delayed for multiple reasons. And it's usually like this with most games and most companies. It's not usually like pinned down to like this one thing that's happening, okay? And the reason for that is because there's so many things that are involved in making a video game. And when you delay something, it's usually because of a big change that you've made that's taking longer than expected.
So reading between the lines there, it's either a new piece of gameplay mechanic that they've been working on and now does work, but has broken quite a lot of other things that is going to take longer than they thought to implement. Or I guess it could be something as simple as, we've got to put this new plane in the game, and then they put the new plane in the game, and now that plane can't fly over a certain building for some reason, and then it's caused a whole load of knock-on problems. It could be something as minor as that is also, a vehicle that's part of the story now that can't really check. Like, it's just something weird, or it's something bigger. Like, now we want to add back in this thing we were developing 2 years ago. We think we've got time. Let's do it. You've got too far down the line to go, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then you have to go, sorry guys, we know this is going to take you an extra few months, but we're going to have to find a way to work all this into the existing systems we've already got.
And Andor, I believe all of that, to go back to the keyword from I think is the keyword from the statement itself, where they use the sprawling state of Leonida. They don't have to say that. They're saying it because they want you to appreciate this game's really big. Really big, sprawling. Sprawling, I think, again, is a word. It almost suggests scale and untidiness. Like it really sprawls, man. Like it's all over the place. And if a game is sprawling, it means that play testing and checking it is just a Leviathan job. And they might have at a point in time go, look, the content complete, even if they are or not, I don't know. Right? Say the content complete. Now we have to just check every mission and every square inch of turf. And they may have just underestimated what a task that was.
Yeah.
And it might be they've gone, look, we've tried to, we've driven, 30 of the 300 vehicles over the rocks. We haven't tested scooters yet. What happens when we take a skateboard down this mountain? Oh my God, it starts falling through the scenery. There's so many things that could go wrong in a game where the more variables you introduce, and we're expecting a lot of variables.
Yeah, even to the point where you're like, I'm riding the skateboard down the mountain wearing this particular t-shirt and it breaks.
Yeah.
And you're like, why has that happened?
It's like every combination of everything and all the stuff we've talked about on the show about this dynamic animation thing where depending on the context, it'll do this and it'll do that. This sounds like a living nightmare to check. Like it's so plausible that the stuff they're going to do in the next year is honestly, obscenely boring.
Oh, yeah.
Boring to the nth degree, but it has to be tested. And the more you test it, and there's still going to be things wrong with the game or glitches, but they just want to get rid of more of them than not. And that was, as I keep going back to, when we went to Rockstar North at the launch of GTA Online at the end of GTA 5, it was basically Leslie Benzies, won't talk about him at any length, but stood in front of a giant number that just said XXX bug squished. And they had a hit list of XXX to go.
Yeah.
It's just a numbers game. They've just started to squash that stuff down. And they probably just went, the numbers don't fit anymore. We need another 6 months to keep squashing that number down. We thought we'd do it at this rate. It's actually going at half that rate. Who knows, right? But I think it's a combination of those factors.
So all of that being said, though, if we look at the historical evidence, this delay isn't really that unexpected, is it? If we're being honest with ourselves, because it's happened with the last two Rockstar games, both of which have been delayed twice. So I, even though was pretty set on that May 26th date, once it comes out that it's being delayed again, as you said, I found it quite easy to go, well, of course it has, because it's happened before. And what was I doing trying to pretend that it might have only been delayed once?
Yeah, on the semantics of the language, like for me, unexpected, yes. Unbelievable, no. Like,
sure.
Of course, because I felt like because of the language they'd used and the pattern they took, it felt like they'd locked in.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Would I have said unequivocally it couldn't be delayed? Of course not, because exactly what you said. There's history here.
So, as we've touched on a little bit at the beginning of the show, trailer 3 or another content drop, when do we think that is coming? We've talked about this before, but now we have new dates to play with. So, if you have a little look back at, let's say, Rockstar's last big release, Red Dead Redemption 2 on console, announced October 2016 with a fall 2017 release date, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. There was then a couple of days gap before the first trailer came out. So far, so good. There was then a 7-month gap into a delay announcement, which delayed Red Dead to spring 2018, and then a 4-month gap to September the 28th, 2017, when we got trailer 2. What's happened now is there's 2 trailers out and a date, but a vague 2018 date. 5 months after that second trailer, on February the 1st, 2018, we got another delay, which took Red Dead until October the 26th, 2018.
That was the actual date, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get back into this in a minute. I think, in terms of historical timings, if we're looking at GTA 6, we are about here now in the timelines of events. So anything that happens after this point, I think, is what we've got to come. We've had gaps, delays, whatever. Now we've got a date and 2 trailers out there. Now cover your ears, people who are expecting content drops, because after that second announcement, which gave it a date, there was a 7-month gap to May the 2nd, 2018, when Rockstar released trailer 3. And at the same time, or the next day, is when the first press previews came out. Now, this is about 5 months before release, which, in terms of timings, works, I think. This is pretty good. And then 3 months after that, we got the first gameplay trailer, 2 months before release. 2 further months gap, and you get the game coming out on October the 26th, 2018. Plug all that into a GTA 6 timeline, and we've got November the 6th, last week, 2025. Rockstar again delayed the release date for GTA 6, setting it as November 19th, 2026. We plug in the 7-month gap to the next bit of content, and we're at June 2nd, when Rockstar could release trailer 3, and then maybe some press previews. This would be 5 months before release. A 3-month gap to September the 9th, and we get a gameplay trailer, and then a further 2-month gap, and you get the game coming out. In terms of a cadence of release date, that feels pretty good to me. And even those dates, don't worry. Like, June the 2nd is just before Summer Game Fest, what used to be E3. Works because they're stood alone from those activities, but also sort of around it, and also gives them the one-up on everyone who's expecting to release something a week later. You're like, yeah, but GTA 6 trailer 3's come out, so we're going to talk about that instead. September's a pretty good time. There's nothing majorly happening around then for a gameplay trailer. And then November the 19th. So, it, unfortunately, it sort of works. And to go back on what we said a few weeks ago now, I don't expect anything coming this year at all. Like, maybe you'd get the Christmas surprise we've talked about, which is a few screenshots at Christmas as a, hey, have a nice break. But I'd say we'd be really lucky if we get anything bigger before March 2026. And bigger by, I mean, like, a bank of screenshots, like 10 plus new screenshots or anything like that. Unfortunately, I think that's where we are. I don't know if your brain is going in a different direction, Dan, but...
If you'd spoken to me last week...
And I did.
And you did. And what I said last week, and I hope I'm consistent on this, is I was more optimistic than not we would get something this year based on a May 26th, 2026 date, which was about generously 6 months-ish before what we thought was the release date. I had a sneaker there might be something on that timeline. Now the timeline is back almost 6 months, 5 months and a bit. I'm not confident of anything this year for exactly the reasons you said. I have an outside hope, like you said, that there'll be some kind of sop for the fans, because I think this is like one of those situations, if you allow me to zoom out a bit, where the board do not intend to sack the manager. And then the fans are furious for 3 weeks and booing at the stadium. And lo and behold, the manager is sacked. I think there's an element of Rockstar will be watching social media really closely and saying, oh, we thought we could ride this out, but it's toxic out there. Or, they'll be watching closely, basically.
Yeah.
That's not me encouraging people to act like morons, by the way, the opposite. But like Rockstar will watch that. And I think if they think it's getting too, the discourse has gone a bit bendy, they might be encouraged to do something, screenshot, artwork, some sort of platitude. I think that's the temptation to try and change the conversation. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not putting a date on it, but that's the only hope I think we've got for something happening this year, I think.
I mean, the flip side of that is they only need something else in the games media to happen for then everyone to like realign the cannons and be like, oh, we're going to go after this instead.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the discourse, the roaming discourse in video games is already on to, yesterday it was about a review written that knocked a score down because it included AI, nonsense. They're not in that spotlight, but amongst the GTA community, I think they've lost a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, there's a lot of things even in our comments going, I'm losing hype for this game.
Yeah.
And then you're like, are you actually? Like, I get it, everyone's disappointed, but I'm still really excited about their game coming out. I'm sad I have to wait another year for it, but like, if anything, it exemplifies the hype, because now I'm even more like, oh, I really want it, and it's not here yet.
You can only to hate, you have to love, and it's that. I think we've all stood in the bus queue long enough, and we can all gripe about, I tell you what, I'm sick of waiting. I'm not even getting on this bus. Yes, you are. And you're going to love it. So, that's where I am with it. I'm still really hyped for this game. I'm annoyed I've got to wait more for it, but let's not pretend. I'm not going to go out flailing and waving my arms saying it's going to be rubbish anyway. I don't want it. Don't be a baby. Get on with it. But Rockstar do have to, there's a line to walk, and I think they'll be watching sentiment carefully and may cause them to do like a little tactical ripple in their plan. Otherwise, I think the timings you put forward, are sensible. And I don't know. I no longer have the confidence in saying the past will predict the future, because everything has gone, as I keep saying it again, this entire campaign's been all over the place. And so it could be, I'm with you. I think it'll be deeper into 2026. Do I think it's June? I don't know. Could be April. Don't know. I don't know. It feels a bit early because normally it's like a 6-month run up, but I just don't know anymore. But I'm much more with you on am I expecting trailer 3, as we said earlier, in an hour? Not really.
No, or within the next few months of the year. Or
possibly not even for 3, 4, 5 months, right? Yeah. That's where it's a little bit, potentially a bit of a bitter pill to swallow for us. But as I raise the caveat that Rockstar are a living organisation that have to watch the mood. And then it's to the extent they want to hold their nerve.
I was going to touch on one thing before we go, but maybe we'll leave this as an open question for the listeners and the viewers and tackle this next week. But I did write, what does this mean for PlayStation 6 as a topic of conversation? Because now GTA 6 is going to come out pretty much at the end of the PS5 life cycle. If it wasn't already at the end in May, by November that year, it's going to be another 6 months in. You're looking at, Sony have already started talking about the next generation of consoles, like coming I would expect 2027, 2028. So you've got it is at the end of a generation that this edition of GTA 6 is going to come out. So then what does that mean for the PlayStation 6? I imagine an enhanced edition on PS6 once the game has come out. But then we're into the weird timeline gap again of a GTA game will release on PS5, a new GTA game, but then will we get a new GTA game on PlayStation 6? Probably not, because of the way that the life cycles work. And, you know, GTA 5 has lasted 3 console generations. So if we're talking about GTA 6 coming out at the end of PS5, you've got PS5, PS6, maybe even PS7 that you're still getting a GTA 6 on PlayStation 7 before, and this might not even be in the plans anyway, there's any talk about GTA 7, and as we've talked about before, maybe this is the last GTA numbered game and then it becomes a living online entity or whatever the plan is for the future of the series. But that is quite astonishing to go, we're here again. We're at the end of a console life cycle like we were with GTA 5 on PlayStation 3, but now we're up to PlayStation 5 possibly getting GTA 6 at the end of that.
Like I had to double check as we were speaking, because it's astonishing how late in PS3's life
right at the
GTA
end.
5 came out. It came out on 17th of September 2013. Then on the 15th of November 2013, so barely 2 months on, we had an entirely new PlayStation console generation. That is staggering. And I remember playing GTA 5 on PS3 because you had to.
Yeah.
That was and you know, it was really good even for that. It was the zenith of that platform, and then it came out on PS4. And like, are we going to be in a similar place? Like, I mean, we don't want to turn this into a PS6 predictions podcast, but we are a year from now. You're a little bit closer to PS6 rumors, PS6 something. I don't think we'll be far away. It might be within like a year overlap.
Yeah.
And then Red Dead launched similar, 26th of October 2018. Then we had PS5, November 2020. So that was more of a 2-year gap. I feel like it's a bit more that than a 2-month gap.
Yes.
But you're right. We're going to see potentially GTA 6 sprawling across maybe 3 generations.
At least 2.
Yeah, at least 2, possibly 3.
Yeah.
But who knows what the future holds? A console's dead, as I've been saying for 10 years to various people. No. AI something, I don't know. The cloud something, who knows, right? A fool like me makes predictions. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating. And like how that changes. This is what I hated as well. People going, oh, by that stage, some people have seriously written, will GTA 6 still be relevant in November 2026? What you mean it was in May 2026?
Yeah, 6 months doesn't make a lot of difference.
If you
really.
write that, you deserve to, your pen deserves to explode. Your fingers should burn on the keys.
Yeah, pen was quite an old school reference there. I don't think anyone's
All right. Well, people
writing
know what
these things
pens are,
down.
right? Once upon a time, people wrote with pens on paper. If your fingers should burn on the keys, you should be ashamed to write stuff like that.
Yeah, that is a crazy statement to make because, yeah, like you say, nothing's going to change the course of that game or how it's received in 6 months. In the 6th month, unless a really significant world event happens. But even then, I think it will still ride the course, so it'll probably be fine.
Are you feeling any more or less confident about the game on the back of this?
No, I think it will be the same game that it has always been planned to be. It's just, like we've said, I think it's just there's something that's happened or there's an extra level of polish that is required. See, now I'm using the word polish. See what happens?
Yeah, they've got you.
They got me already. The marketing speak have got me.
I'm feeling confident, feeling good.
Yeah, I love it. I'm really once they've set a date, I'm pretty confident they'll stick to that date. But what I will still answer your question is I think it just needs that extra amount of time. And, like we saw with Red Dead 2 and GTA 5, 2 significant delays does not make a bad game. Both those games are incredible. So it's in the same cycle. It's got delayed twice. It's going to come out. It's going to be incredible, I hope.
That's the point I want to end on, and I still have confidence in that. I cannot remember seeing a Rockstar game, for the first time when they show it to you and they go, this is the thing. And every single time I think I've gone, those wizards have done it again. It's unbelievable. And that is the bar they have to hit.
Yeah.
And that is what Zelnick has repeatedly stated. That's a horrific ambition for a company to have to hit, right? But I've got a sneaker, it's going to be in that realm again. If it's not, Rockstar cease being the Rockstar we love and are hyped about. But they've got to wear the hat of, we're making the most anticipated entertainment product in history. Do we need more polish to do that? Yeah. Because you've got to blow people away. They have to.
I mean, it's the same that we talk about when we look at the trailers. Look at those trailers, which it very clearly states is a mix of in-game cinematics and gameplay somewhere. You look at that and go, none of this is gameplay, because it looks like nothing else. Like no one else is putting a trailer out where you're looking at it going, that doesn't look like gameplay. Like you can most of the time look at a trailer and go, that bit's CG, that bit's the game. With the GTA 6 trailer, it's harder to do that. I think it's possible to do that, to find clips where you're like, this could be gameplay. But all you're saying is, it could be gameplay. It looks a little bit too good to be gameplay. But if we're going to pick any of these scenes, let's say this one is gameplay, which is already a pretty high bar. Because if now you go and look at that game and go, oh, it looks nothing like those trailers, you're in some muddy waters.
Yeah, so look, GTA 6 podcast predicts GTA 6 still might be good.
Yes, put that on the internet. And while you're doing that, you should sign up to the newsletter, gamesradar.com/newsletter. Click on the GTA 6 icon and you'll get some lovely words delivered to your inbox every Friday. While you're doing that, hit the subscribe button if you're listening on YouTube. And please do put a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if there's anything you would like us to talk about. We are careering towards episode 100, which is going to be very special. I hope you can all join us for that in 3 weeks' time. It will be now. You can get in touch with us on email at gtavioclock@gmail.com or on X or Twitter, gtavoclock. Thank you all for listening. We are going to go and mourn the moving of a release date, but we will be back next week for another episode of GTA 6 O'Clock.